What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan, also known as XSET Ayrin, currently in Texas, but I'm originally from Canada. Today, we're going to be doing the Nerf for Buff show, something that I've really wanted to do for a while because I think there's some things that need to be clarified out there regarding what needs to be buffed or not. Thank you guys for tuning in, and let's get to it. So today's Nerf for Buff, there's a lot of different variations of Nerf for Buff, but I'm going to make it very simple for the audience. When I nerf something, it's something that I think is, overrated or people need to pay less attention to it. And when I say buff, it's something that I like and I think deserves more attention. CYPHER Valorant. This is, for me, a very easy answer. It's a buff. Not many people enjoy playing this agent. Not many people take the time to really see how he can really impact the team. And, playing on a good team that I play on with teammates I can rely on, I actually really enjoy playing CYPHER now. I played CYPHER a year ago in a small tournament and it didn't go well. It was like, one day of practice with CYPHER and it felt useless. But right now that I'm playing CYPHER, I think I'm really enjoying it and I hope to do, more creative things in the future. So it's definitely a buff. Breakfast. Ooh, this is an interesting one. For me, this is definitely a nerf. I don't eat breakfast. Like, I simply don't. I only eat breakfast when, I need to do some crazy things like run a track event or, back in high school when I played rugby, then I'd eat a breakfast, something small to play. But, ever since I became an adult, I don't really eat breakfast at all. So for me, that's definitely a nerf. CROSSFIRE is definitely a buff. This is the game where, at a young age, before even CSGO came out, when CSS was still in play, I just happened to stumble upon this game, and it changed my life forever. Going to half a dozen international lands representing North America, it really developed me as a person, socially, meeting people across the world. I was able to do school while also playing the game and traveling. A lot of people in North America make fun of it, even my teammates sometimes make fun of it, but it's given me the experience, it's given me the confidence to play in Valorant, and be a decent human being. So definitely a buff. You gotta buff the crap out of that. Ooh, Poutine. Growing up, I loved poutine. For those who don't know what poutine is it originated in Montreal/Quebec, and basically it's fries or chips if you're from Britain. Then you put gravy and a bunch of stuff on it. And at the beginning, I really loved it, but for me now today, it's gotta be a nerf. It's just I think the older I get, I can't eat that much gravy on fries. I'd rather have something cleaner to eat. So poutine for me is a nerf for sure. XSET Valorant House. XSET Valorant House is definitely a buff. When I was living in Toronto, I didn't expect to live in such an amazing house in Austin. That's before I signed with XSET. I know I wanted to move to the States, for the next chapter of my life and for gaming, and it's just been a total buff. Like the XSET house here, for the people that have came here before to visit, or the family members of our teammates, they'll tell you it's a very clean house, and I make sure it's clean. I'm like the house lady of the house. I make sure everything's clean, and it's amazing. It's in a nice area, and it's in Austin. Like, Austin's just a wonderful city, so definitely a massive buff there. Canada, I think this is a rhetorical question. Canada is definitely a buff. Canada is just, I think, I've traveled and I've worked and studied in so many countries like Denmark, India, Hong Kong, Ireland, and just traveling. And some of these countries are remarkable, but what home is to me is Canada. Toronto is just such a fascinating city, and it's something that I always, will keep close to my heart. And for me, that's 100% a buff. Yeah, SOULJA Boy is definitely. This is a very, very easy buff. Like growing up, SOULJA Boy was just so integral and part of my high school life, my middle school life. The songs, the dance.
SOULJA Boy, tough. Hey, I got this new dance for y'all called the SOULJA Boy.
I'm really bad at dancing, at least like on the spot, so I can't do that dance for you guys now, but this is definitely a buff. I love SOULJA Boy. Most Canadians do. I just hope he made more relevant music now, because I haven't really followed him recently. Subway is definitely, it's a nerf. It's unfortunately, I was out with lunch with some of my friends today, and we talked about this. We went to a random sub chain that's not Subway, and we compared it to Jersey Mike's. We compared it to other sub chains we had, and it's definitely a nerf. When I was in college in Canada, there was a 24-hour Subway, so there was even some days where I would eat 3 subs a day when I was very stressed out or I had a lot of exams going on. Subway's a nerf. Like, I'm sorry for I did a poll on this on my Twitter, and Subway beat Jersey Mike's. I don't know how. Subway is definitely a nerf, and I'm sorry for those that I offend, but it's just not that good. We gotta can that. Zekken, this must be the easiest question in the entire episode here. You know, Zekken is someone that I truly believe is a buff. Like, this guy is so young. What he's done in the 2 tournaments that we've played, you know, he's just been getting better and better every tournament. And he's someone that I respect and someone that I really enjoy having on the team. And, you know, I take pride with our coach Don. You know, we watched his demos at the beginning. We were the ones that kind of scouted him together. So, you know, he's like my little protege, and, you know, the world is going to see very soon what this guy's capable of. So, you know, I love that guy. And, you know, easy question, it's a buff. Ooh, IVEY school. So this is a buff. So IVEY Business School is a business school I went to in Canada. It's IVEY, so it's not Ivy League in America, but that's what, you know, people that go to the school I went to, IVEY, consider it as. And I think the IVEY Business School is, you know, it's a remarkable school. Oh man, I can go on for hours of stories about why I think this was, you know, one of the greatest experiences of my life. Split. So the Valorant map Split is something I would nerf it personally. So before they made those big changes back in early in the year, Split was a very awful map. It was very close corridors. There wasn't much strategy at all, to be honest with you. And then they made the change, but even now I still feel like it's very one-dimensional and it's not exciting. You know, the map is not big enough. So this has got to be, you know, a thumbs down for me. There's got to be a nerf. You know, some people say it's good enough now, but to me, good enough is not good. You know, it needs to be exciting. People want to play it, and when you play ranked, people sometimes even want to dodge Split simply because it's just a boring map. Like, it's quite boring, and no one likes boring, right? Super Smash Bros. Woo! This is definitely a buff for me. I love this game to death. It's, you know, one of the first games that got me into gaming when I was like, you know, 6 or 7 years old. I had a Nintendo 64 that I got from my cousin because I begged for him to let me borrow it at his birthday party. So he gave me that Nintendo 64, and I would play hours playing Kirby on Nintendo 64, and I was just like, you know, not to make a pun, but smashing people in Smash Bros. And then I would play 1 computer, the highest level, and then I would play 2 computers, and then I would play 3 computers, and then, you know, we have a Nintendo Switch at our house too now, and I think the skills still transfer because, you know, Zekken's tried, our coach has tried, but it's just too easy. So this game definitely needs a buff for sure. EU Valorant. EU Valorant is very interesting. You know, I've gotten asked a lot of this about them also in other interviews I've done, and I haven't really paid too much attention to EU Valorant as much as NA for sure. I pay attention a lot to NA because I think NA has the best competitors in the world right now, and we'll see. I think this new event in Berlin is going to be very interesting. EU is going to be playing on EU grounds. I think that's a buff for them, but then EU Valorant as a whole is on an upward trend. You know, the competition, you know, the personalities that are coming through in that scene are very interesting, and it's definitely a buff. You know, I'm very interested to see what EU has to offer, not in competition only, but in, you know, the content that they make, and, you know, what the publishers are doing on the EU side, because I would love to go back to Europe. You know, I love Europe. I love the people from the different parts of Europe, and I'm just very excited. So definitely a buff. Late night streams. So for late night streams for me it's not that relevant. So what I mean by that is I would nerf it because I don't stay up that late now, but like when I was a bit younger, I'd stay up very late. But I'm never watching people's streams too much. You know, I support my friends, I support people that I think are interesting. I subscribe, and, you know, I maybe might post a comment or two, but I never really watch anyone stream for more than, you know, 10-20 minutes, because I've always told this to myself when I was younger was, if I could be playing the game, why am I watching someone else play? You know, obviously when I'm studying people play, that's different. I don't consider that late night stream. I watch VODs before I go to bed sometimes. I watch someone's play style, but late night streams as a whole is a nerf for me. I'd rather do things than be watching people do things. So for me, it's a nerf for sure. Thank you guys all so much for tuning into this episode of Nerf or Buff. You know, a massive shout out to the team. You know, this last year, this team, when I say team, it's everyone. It's, you know, the owners, it's the Valorant team. You know, just thank you guys so much. You guys have made my life so exciting this past year. I'm able to, you know, pursue my dream, and without you guys, you know, it would be a much more, you know, boring life. And to the fans, thank you guys so much again. I hope you guys support us going into the last chance qualifier, which will be a LAN. I'm crossing my fingers, hoping it's California. I love that city to death, and we're obviously gonna bring our A game. At XSET Valorant, it's all about winning, and we're not gonna stop until, you know, we try our very best. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful night. Cheers.
up.